Big crowd today.
Must be summer.
I saw most of the people I know on the golf course on my way in. So, anyways, we're here and we're working hard for the community. Isn't that nice of us?
Yes.
Yeah, I said that for the camera. Okay, starting off.
And then sincerely,
I was very sincere. Any conflict of interest? Nothing. Good. Minutes of the previous meeting. Moved by Councillor Elliott, second by Councillor Turton. The minutes of the June 20th, 2017 council meeting be approved. All in favor? Where did my pen go?
Here, borrow mine.
I had one.
Right here.
No, that's not it. There it is. I got it right there.
That's my, both are mine.
I got it.
Gave mine to Ron.
Nope, I've got both mine.
Here, use that one back. Oh,
Give me pen pals.
made it through this. Moved by Councillor Caldwell, second by Councillor Dirksen. The Town of Minto Council convenes in the committee of the whole. All in favor? Great. I didn't know. I did. Additional items. Anybody got additional items? I have one. On.
Are you going to report it?
I can or you?
Okay,
Okay, Ron. All right. Anybody else got any? We've got some time. Dave?
Maybe.
All right. Well, think about it.
Find out the date of the barbecue.
All right. And we have no public meetings in the next delegations. We have Howard Ray, and it doesn't look like Paul Ziegler here. Howard will introduce Lindsay. It's right, Lindsay, I think, isn't it? Lindsay?
Geez, I even got the name wrong. Sorry.
But Howard's going to do all this for us. So, and this is very exciting for us, Howard. We've been working on this for a long time.
Just for
Your
us.
worship, members of council. Yeah, so I don't really have anything too formal prepared, but I understand we did a report a year or so ago on the crossing in Palmerston at William and Main, and it recommended type B PXO, which is a new type of pedestrian crossover that regulations were changed about a year and a half ago to permit. And what it was looking for was a way to give pedestrians priority at a crossing when the traffic volumes and the pedestrian volumes are high enough that warrants it, but without going to the expense. Previously, really the only option was a full intersection pedestrian signal with the red and the green lights. And not that those are bad, they have their place as well. But sometimes, especially if the volumes are lower, you probably all had the experience of those where pedestrians cross the road and it's halfway down the block and in the convenience store and it hasn't gone back to green yet. So these can be a little bit more efficient. If the pedestrian is in the crosswalk, the vehicles have to stop. They have to stay stopped while the pedestrian fully crosses, and that was a change in the legislation about a year and a half ago. Before, you just had to, if they were in your side of the road, you had to stop, but now you have to remain stopped while they're in the crosswalk. And there's different levels that we'll look at after, depending on the volumes and the traffic. But it's important that they do operate on a right-of-way basis. In other words, the pedestrian, once they step into the crosswalk, they have the right-of-way, but there is an onus on them to ensure that it's safe to do so. So they can't step 10 feet in front of a vehicle. Eye contact is important. In some ways, it's almost analogous to a roundabout as compared to a signal. Like you're making eye contact, you're looking at yields and so on. A little bit of a different way of thinking than the sort of red light, green light approach. But the type B is the sort of highest level of the PXO, and it'll have a pole with a flashing amber light, which is solar powered. So the pedestrian pushes a button that makes that light flash, which draws people's attention. The light itself doesn't have any legal bearing on it. It's not that you have to stay stopped while that light is flashing. It's strictly when they're in the crosswalk, right, but it draws people's attention. They also have an overhead sign to just for greater visibility. So when we looked at this corner, it was a little bit tricky. The roads are offset slightly. it was important to us to make that crosswalk square.
Mhm.
That makes it the shortest distance to cross.
Mhm.
It sets up best. There's nothing that says it can't be on a skew, but all the samples are straight across, and we strongly recommended that. And because of the presence of the parallel parking, we once we got looking at it, we felt that what we would recommend is to build a bump out
Right.
as illustrated. And what that does is it gets the pedestrian out beyond the parked car into a line of sight, so they're not walking out
Yep.
behind a parked car. So although a little extra cost, and I think we're looking at, the contractor probably that's doing the work on Jane may be able to do that work for us. And in terms of parking spaces, we do lose one, but only one. The bulb on the we'll call it the south side, but the store really takes into where we've already got no parking painted.
Right.
And we just have to extend it a little bit on the other side because of wanting to get it square. So that's the configuration. The existing crosswalk lines will be removed, and so there'll be a push button where the pole is, which we've set back far enough from the curb to not run into a maintenance problem. But they'll push the button, activate the light, and again, it'll still be important to have the eye contact and cross the road. So I we'll move on to that one. In general, this is just sort of an outline from the manual of the different kinds of pedestrian crossovers, or PXO. This is the one that you've seen in the past. There's still some in Toronto. There was a movement away from this style. It's really an Ontario only. I think it was probably developed in Toronto standard. And the black on white sign is used more in other provinces, and at least it falls in line with that all regulatory signs like speed signs are black and white. So it emphasizes that you have to stop for the pedestrians. So that type is still permissible. It's used in higher volume areas. Most municipalities are not using this one at all, probably in Toronto still. And then depending on traffic, this is the type B of what's called the level 2. So that's that we're doing in Palmerston with the flashing light and the overhead sign. The type C is similar. It has the flashing light but no overhead sign. And these are all just based on volume of traffic and number of pedestrians. That as your volumes are less, the amount of signage that you require is less. And the type D is just pretty much applicable to local roads or lower volume collectors, and it's the signage without any of the lights. And I also added in, because I know we're looking for you at some existing school crossings. School crossings are still permissible, signed with the school crossing signage and accompanying a crossing guard. And those, it's under the Highway Traffic Act, so legally vehicles must stop when the crossing guard is there. The difficulty can be when no crossing guard is there, then they're not required to stop. So it can create some confusion in terms of someone coming to that crossing that's painted at a non-school hour. On the flip side, as we move forward with these, certainly the school crossings are very well recognized, and we want to ensure if we start to convert school crossings to PXOs that there's some public education involved too, because we want people to recognize that the black and white signs mean stop. And so I think it's a good way to move forward. It's not that there's anything wrong with school crossings, and I would, perhaps you'd move somewhat cautiously and make sure that people are understanding it. And it doesn't mean you can't use a crossing guard at a PXO. You can also supplement a PXO with a crossing guard.
Howard, would that require an extra sign indicating that?
No. And in fact, the one thing that's a little bit tricky is the school crossing sign has to come down if there's a PXO because they're conflicted.
Yeah, exactly.
But you can use a crossing guard at a traffic signal.
Sure.
There's no extra signage involved.
But you don't have to put the extra sign.
Yeah, same thing with PXO.
Okay. Open up for questions.
Yeah, thanks, Mayor Bridge. Howard, so this is right out of the traffic manual, and it'll be in. I was trying to look at the pictures and listen to you, so if I'm asking a question that you've already answered, I apologize.
So no problem.
So it's right out of the manual, and so it's like this all over Ontario?
That's correct.
I think that's a good thing.
Yeah.
So,
That's sort of the idea, I think,
Mhm.
David, to get it more consistent.
Yes, and what we're seeing, an implementation, and I think it's like with any somewhat new traffic device, the more places that bring them in, that's going to be the better. So there weren't a lot that went in last year. It was January 1st, 2016 that they became legal. Milton has installed, I think 3 or 4 of them. I spoke to the transportation person there, and they're still continuing to, they monitor it. They were finding some compliance issues. They did a blitz in the winter where they had police stop
Mhm.
people and give them information. The next time wasn't going to be information. So it is a bit of an ongoing thing, but I know that Waterloo are moving ahead, City of Hamilton.
Saw that on TV.
Any questions?
Mayor Bridge, I did do a report, and there's
Yes.
a resolution in the recommendation, and so I do appreciate Howard coming, and I know he's been doing each of our crossings, but I don't. This question just came up as I was listening to you and looking at that last standard, because I'm trying to merge this with what Safe Communities is looking for, and so will we be painting our crosswalks where we have crossing guards like this standard here, or would we be using that other one where they sort of said you don't have to have the crossing guard signs?
Yeah, and we're just
Which
we
one
have
should
collected that data and just going through the reports, which we'll have for you shortly. But we'll assess each of the locations. If they don't meet the warrant for a PI, and it could be, what happens is you've got a very high volume of pedestrians during the school hours, but once you run it through the volume, they may not meet the volume of traffic for a PXO. Also, there is a question in my mind: if the only pedestrians are crossing during school hours, and there's only maybe 1 or 2 the rest of the time, maybe the school crossing is still the more appropriate signage,
Okay.
at least for now. So we'll put those recommendations forward. But if they stay as a school crossing, they're marked like this. If they do go to a PXO, then the school crossing sign comes down,
Mhm.
and then they get the shark's teeth and the
Mhm.
ladders.
And-
But I believe that you're also, and again, I'm sort of, a lot of this is following up because a certain amount of it's new, but I believe you can still have a school zone
Mhm.
and then a PXO within that school zone. So you may still have some of that school signing, just not the one right at the crossing. So
And I think just at county council last Thursday, there was some concern when they had a report, and what we're doing is what the county wants us to do. If it's a county road, then we have to have somebody like Howard, Triton Engineering, saying, here are the warrants, this is what we need, and this is what we're going with. So it's not just open season on everybody just changing everything over to something. There has to be a warrant. It's a good point that Howard makes on if it's just around school time. We were thinking, and that's why we wanted to have that monitored. Some of ours, they're routes that people would take to the arena, to take to other things. So it makes sense maybe to have them more than just school crossing guards, because school crossing times, because kids tend to migrate through that area to get to the next spot.
yeah, those
So-
to me are clearly ones that
And those are
very
ones-
good candidate sites.
Yeah.
For PXO.
But are we prepared now on the one downtown? You've got all the warrants on it. Have you?
This is for Palmerston?
For the Palmerston one?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
We're just finalizing the pricing, and
Right.
we've run some draft plans past
Yeah.
the county and had
Okay.
some discussion with them, and we're just sort of finalizing any
Perfect.
final comments that they may have.
And the only thing sorry, Jean.
No, it's okay.
The only thing I was just looking at when I looked at the drawing, and I assume the county knows this because you were passing by, we do make it a little bit tighter when we bring the things out, right? The road, we have lots of room on that highway,
Yes, yeah.
on that road. Yeah, that was Jean.
And next.
In regard, because we had a presentation here about a move to make all of them the same, right? And you're not a fan of that, or you're not? Because to my way of thinking, if it's a school crossing guard, or school crossing, it's a school crossing. It would be safer to have everybody stop there all the time because they'd get used to stopping and not have to see that crossing guard to think, do I stop or do I not stop? Because I think a big problem with crossing is people don't understand that there are different ones and they don't know how to behave. Standardizing them to me makes a lot of sense. You see a crossing guard, people have made eye contact, stop. You don't need to think about stopping. You don't need to see if they're partway across the road. Doesn't matter whether they're school kids, senior citizens, whatever. Just stop.
Yeah, it's a good point, but I do feel that the warrant book does have specific warrants for these PXOs to be put in, and you certainly don't want to start putting them in where they're not warranted. So.
And just to talk to that, Gene, and that's what if you were at county council that you were visiting. One of the problems was with the presentation we had. It was sort of the genie was out of the box a little bit in the sense that what Safe Communities is going to be doing more than is going out and educating.
Right.
But at the same token, we want to make sure that we follow the warrants and what the county roads department weren't prepared to just change all these in. So there's a warrant situation because you have to know why you're doing them, and there's a certain thing. So we had that presentation. It was a bit confusing, and we've been having some talks around that. And now we were always doing ours, I think, the right way in the sense that we were going through the proper procedure. We had Triton looking at the downtown, we had them looking at the traffic counts, but everybody's gonna have to do that first, and then we can see what ones. And I like the way Howard explained it, what ones warrant it on a regular basis.
I should point out too, a couple of them are on your connecting link. So I contacted
Yeah.
MTO.
Yeah.
You are the road authority for MTO, but any traffic signal requires approval from MTO. So they have asked to look at them.
Okay.
And they've actually got a new form for a PXO, which has got draft on it that I've never seen before. So there's some steps to go through there with the connecting link.
Okay, I've got. I think I heard you whispering you before, and then Judy, and then Mary Lou. Okay.
Howard, I think you answered my question on the MTO. However, have we, like for instance, the two Harrison locations are on the connecting links?
Yes.
Have we asked them already?
Yes, I've asked the question, and they've come back and they've indicated you're the road authority, but that they want to see any design. So we're part of putting our report together. Yeah. We haven't submitted to them yet, but we will.
So, in other words, as soon as we're ready, we just submit a design to them.
Yes.
Okay.
That was my question.
Okay, good. Mary Lou?
My question was just which one of the figures are recommended for Palmerston? Do you know?
First one.
The
Very first one.
First one?
Yeah, go to the.
It's the one that has street names on it.
The figures that we had, the B.
Right, type B?
Is that it?
Type B. So with the light, the flashing light. And,
Yeah.
Yeah.
With the flashing light on the side.
Is there a report with this? Yeah. Okay. I missed that by not opening it in eScribe.
Okay. Any other questions? So our timing on this, Bill, was you and
For
Howard?
the school year, I think.
I was hoping that I was going to ask. I was hoping to maybe have an idea that we could do them before the.
Yeah, we expect to, and Lindsay's been working with me on the reports, and we're very close. I wanted this opportunity to sort of expand on the issues a bit. It saves a lot of words, so I think we'll have those to you probably within a week. The ones on the connecting link, everybody knows when you start dealing with MTO.
Exactly. Yeah. Okay. And I was interested in your conversation. Said the people that are doing our streets down there, if we did it about the same time, that might save us some dollars because we're going to have construction going on right at that corner.
Yes.
Right.
That makes sense. So and I think Paul's close to having some numbers
on that.
Consideration.
Good. All right. Anything else? Thanks, Howard.
Thanks.
We can
Thanks,
let you.
Lindsay.
You can go and hit the golf course now if you want. Thanks a lot. Nice seeing you. Okay.
Bruce, did you want to pass the resolution?
Yes, let's pass the resolution. Is that all right? Or do you want to guys?
Sure.
So somebody move it. Councillor Elliott, Councillor Turton. All in favor? Yeah. Okay.
Just to note.
Opposed? I look
hand
both
was up
ways,
on
but I'm
time.
trying to get going here.
Just to note, Mayor Bridget, it's in the report that we are relocating that one.
Yes.
Okay.
I'd like.
Union to William, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. But I really like the fact in Palmerston there by moving it out there, we actually only use one parking spot.
Yeah.
we know what that's all about. We got lots of parking issues.
Downtown Palmerstown.
Yeah, good.
Win-win.
Yep. Public question period. I think got rid of the public. No.
You tend to do that.
I don't know.
Correspondence. Oh, we have lots of correspondence. Everybody's writing letters. Anybody want to pull anything out?
Yes, I do.
Probably the same one, everybody.
I think that
Okay,
on
well,
the, oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
I'll wait
Yeah,
till
no,
you
no,
finish.
that's fine. You go ahead. You're first.
The one on rabies.
Yep.
I'm going to suggest that we connect with the Wellington Dufferin Guelph Public Unit and get the information and also connect on the link.
Yeah. And by the way, I have a public health meeting on Wednesday. So.
It just then if there's a situation where
Yep.
we're ready.
Bill, I think we've already got sort of an idea where we're going on this. Right?
I think we should do the link. I agree.
Yeah. No. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. But no, we definitely need the link. We're not shooting anything at trees. Okay. Is that all right with everybody? Do we need a mover on that? I know.
There might be more
It might be.
that we want to pull.
Okay. All right. We're pulling that one. That's good.
Congratulations to our fire chief.
Yes.
Yes. Congratulations to our fire chief. He's not here to do that, but we will.
Was that a real?
I was interested in that every drop counts report. I don't know whether we have a handle on our water and wastewater energy costs. I know we've done lots of energy upgrades in Minto, but I don't know whether we have a handle on that. Really appreciate getting just the executive summary because I have a funny feeling
Oh man.
that the whole one would be really long. But one of the points that I heard with the selling water issue was why do we use good expensive water for things like dust suppression? And that's one of the things that's covered in on page 6 of that executive. So anyways, just I know that staff's working on that, so just wondered if we could have that kind of included. Can I ask for something else too? I'd like to support the one on cycling or not cycling on sidewalks.
Yep.
I've been kind of quietly making noise about that, so time to get a little louder, I guess. So I'd like that one pulled, please. And yeah, congratulations to Chief Harold too.
Hey, did you want on the cycling one?
That's 9B.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming that has to go to staff for a report and it comes back to us.
Yeah.
That's usually how we do things.
Yeah, and we've working on that.
Well, Mayor Bridget, I mean, you can see in the letter
Yeah.
my response to the person who wrote that we did poll our businesses, and it was kind of, it started out, oh, don't bother, and then we got more and more sort of maybe we do need to do something. So we kind of parked that issue, and we haven't acted on it. So if it's council's direction that we have a report, we would bring back one. I don't have a magic wand to wave a solution here because there's good points on either side, but I do understand that there is some people who from time to time are out of control with their bicycles on the sidewalks, and but having a good bylaw enforcing it will be the challenge.
Yeah.
We've went through that. I was chief in Harrison for 13 years. We went through that many times. And one time they did enact a bylaw. It's almost impossible to enforce because the chances of you being right there when that bike goes past is pretty small. And second of all, judges got upset at us when we did get one in front of them. What this issue was doing in front of the court. I know that's a poor argument for not. However, I'd be in favor of an education program and trying to educate people not to ride their bikes on the sidewalk. Having said that, on a Friday or a Sunday night with holiday traffic, it's more dangerous to have the bike on the road than it is on the sidewalk.
Yeah,
That's my
and
point.
we can debate this, but I think what we want to do is have the staffs go back and look at it.
Okay.
And only from that standpoint, because everybody's going to have an opinion on this one. And I guess if I put some direction to you, Bill, see if there is a mousetrap out there that actually is working. I would hope there could be. There might not be. I don't know. But I'm very leery about bylaws we can't enforce, and I think I understand that, but we'll see where we get to.
Just that was my one that I wanted pulled, and the only suggestion I was thinking of is even signs.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times
Absolutely.
public do themselves, whatever the word is.
Police themselves.
Police themselves.
Yep.
And if they're feeling bad because somebody's saying, "Look at the sign," they might get off the
Well,
sidewalk.
let's
Yeah.
staff come back, because then they'll see the costs and if it's been used before. I mean, and I even the writer of the letter, Irma, she understands that a little bit, that it's unfortunate if a couple people ruin it for everybody else.
Yep.
You know, on those. Okay, any other ones? We're gonna be. Oh, sorry.
Not another one, but the Environmental Commission, I found that summary very interesting, and I think we need to look at aspects of that when we're looking at the water. I know that water issue gendered a lot of public opinion, and we looked at it, and I think in many ways I would like to see the water issue sort of separated out so that we look at having somebody in charge of water and how it's managed. And the way we do that, we need to look at some of the aspects of this, as in the energy conservation and consumption and the gas production and so forth and so on.
Can I, Bill? I'll let you talk in a second, but I'm just thinking Bill was already working on an overall environmental plan, I believe, Bill.
If I may, Mayor Bridge, it was the Minto Energy Strategy
Yep.
mess in response to the provincial climate change initiatives. This is a new document we just got last week, so we will be integrating that into our strategy. And then as for the bulk water issue and that policy, I'll be bringing that back to the next meeting of council. I'm assuming that might be in 2 weeks, although that would be my additional item is when we're going to meet again.
Okay, so what I like about that, I mean, it's just new, and what I like about it, the fact that I think we're sitting down, we're looking at our environmental policies, and I think when we get it all put together, you'll find that we're really out there, or we're actually working hard. Even when you look at what we've saved already on just with our metering system and whatnot.
I agree. I think
So-
we're definitely on the right path.
Yeah.
I just think this is some really good
Yeah.
information, and we could maybe further our efforts.
Yeah,
even
so
more
if-
so.
So
And
as long as
putting it
Bill's
together.
taking that into consideration, I think we're going to get that other thing going and get that out there. And by the way, there is some funding money available from FCM on some of this stuff. So it's kind of neat. I meant to Bill when we went to FCM, they talked about it. There's some funding to do your studies, to do your strategies and stuff like that. So
Well, and I mean, not to get into a long discussion, but there's some points in here that you could maybe satisfy the public's issues with the water taking if you used water that wasn't all the way filtered and used it rather than letting it back into the. Anyway, it would take a better mind than mine to sort it all out, but it was very intriguing reading.
okay, all right.
So Mayor Bridge, if I may, I think most of the things were notes, but I think on the cycling on sidewalks item, we need a resolution
Okay,
asking for a staff report.
staff report moved by Councilor Caldwell, second by Councilor Dirksen. All in favor? And they were the ones that probably want to bring it up. Okay.
Then I'll take it as direction to do the links on the rabies
Yep.
matter.
Good.
To include the water and wastewater information in our Minto energy strategy.
Perfect.
Sounds good.
The rest, now we just need one on the rest.
Just to receive the rest.
Receive the rest. Deputy Mayor Faulkner and Councilor Anderson, all in favor? Okay, reports. We have two,
It's James.
James Way and Maitland. Any concerns on either one of those? Do you want to talk to the Maitland one?
No, not in this. No.
Okay. Motion to accept.
Yep.
Councilor Turton. Councilor Judy. All in favor?
Mayor Bridge, we interjected the site plan bylaw in your agenda just for fun, so it's like one of those suggestive advertisements or something. Move on to the
They're
next
just coming
item.
up. Stay tuned.
Yeah.
What's this now?
Subliminal messaging.
What's that?
Well, the bylaw 2017-57, we just put it in there ahead of the launch it minutes.
Oh,
Just-
I didn't.
Did you?
Mine is
Mine was
in
fine.
there. I'm good.
Oh my!
I'm
You
on.
got the old version.
Yeah,
I'm
yes.
good.
So
Because I
they're way
downloaded
ahead of
mine
me.
too.
Staff
that
report.
much for it.
Okay, so launch at Minto minutes. And here's Summer. Yep, ready for you.
Stand? Do I stand?
Wow. Your choice.
I'll stop.
Big decision.
I can't see Mary Lou up there.
Yeah.
Anyway, hello everybody.
Hello.
We're rewinding way back to April, and the Launch It board met on April 18th, and once again we didn't have quorum. So that sparked up a conversation between the people that were there as to how to proceed and what the issues are with getting the board in the same room. We've tried a few different ways, but what we kind of realized is that the needs of Launch It have kind of changed, and we've kind of grown and adapted. It's getting to be a bit of it's working on its own kind of thing. We've got our programs established, and so the need to meet monthly just isn't there like it used to be. So we think maybe the board members that were coming, it's not a priority for them because maybe they're not feeling like there's much for them to do at these meetings. So that sparked a conversation and a meeting then between Glenn Hall, Belinda, Mayor Bridge, and myself. We just kind of sat down and thought, okay, how can we navigate around this and work more efficiently? And what we proposed, and I sent out an email to the existing Launch It board, and we've proposed that going forward, we developed this executive, which would include Mayor Bridge, Belinda, Glenn, and myself, and we would sit down no less than quarterly, but on an as-need basis as well, just to troubleshoot any areas or get some new direction when needed, as well as create 2 events. So one would be after the Live to Lead event, which is happening October 6th. And we would invite our training partners. We would invite the people that sat on the Launch It board. We would invite the business community as a way to engage and get feedback of what the businesses are really needing, what training they're looking for the next 6 months, and really tell them what's going on at Launch It and how we can be of help and service to them. So try and get everyone in a room and maybe have a speaker, have it in conjunction with some sort of event, an opportunity to learn and be part of development. So that's kind of what we came up with. The board was all in agreement with this. They all thought that it was a really good path to take this down. And so I'm just presenting it to you now as well, just to see what your thoughts are and get your input as council. So I don't know, does anyone have any questions about that? I explained it. I did it justice, did I?
You did a great job, Summer. I just didn't comment, because Summer's there all the time and it's more operational. I think what was happening, a lot of the stuff we were getting there, once the budget's approved and once everything's done, it's just decisions are all done on a daily basis. So
that's right.
That we going forward, I think 2 visioning sessions made more sense to get everybody in tune to doing that. And then we're this there as a safeguard if there's something comes up, like maybe some rental things or something that we have to get together and give Summer some support on that. We would be there for that on a quarterly basis and make sure that our budget's working towards the schedule and all that type of thing.
Yeah.
So I was happy with the response that we got from the board members. They all thought it was refreshing, and the ability to come and present activities and other things twice a year would give them more play. So
for sure.
It's just growing up. It's like a child. It grows up and needs less supervision as it gets older. And I think that's sort of where we are with it.
Yeah.
The actual Launch It is doing really well.
Yeah,
I was at a meeting today, and I feel really guilty when I'm hosting those meetings, Belinda, because I'm saying, well, then we'll launch it. We've been doing this and this and this, and a lot of the other municipalities in our Wellington County are going, oh, dang, Minto. And it's kind of frustrating, but at the same token, it's
no,
but we're there and we see it growing. We see it developing the way we thought with the flight program and all the good things that are happening with the pitchets and getting all those people and seeing the business really do well.
For sure.
So it's working. It's not like it isn't working, but I think the board members were getting a little bit, well,
yeah, why are we doing this?
Yeah, we come and we basically, and a lot of them are on other committees like economic development, other committees. They already see some of this. So.
It's a bit redundant for a lot of our board members as well, because they sit around the chamber, which we report on Launch It, or economic development, we report on Launch It there. So, they don't need to hear it 2 and 3 times. But so I was really happy with the support from the board, and I think that it's a good plan moving forward. So I'll kind of run with it and develop that. Then if I could just, now that that's over, if I could just kind of scoot over to just a couple points I wanted to mention. we have 2 grand openings happening Thursday, July the 6th in Palmerston. They were rescheduled from the flood day. So they will be happening at 1 and 1:30 in Palmerston. And one is Body Adjust. The 1 o'clock is Body Adjust with Jeffrey Wagler, who's part of the Renew program, and he's also in the Business Flight program. And 1:30 is Kimberly Stationery, and she's on Main Street, and she's also a Business Flight participant. So if any and all of you can join, that would be wonderful to have your support there for these grand openings.
Thursday, this Thursday.
Thursday, 1 and 1:30.
1 and 1:30.
And the first one is at which address?
Jeffrey Wagler's. It's on William Street.
Just right across.
Oh, William Street.
Yeah.
You bet. I know where that one is.
Yep.
And the other one's on Main Street down
Where
past.
Tiny Tots used to be.
Yep.
Yeah. So we're excited to have those 2 new businesses, and they're doing their grand opening celebration. So should be great. I thought you had a question. And then another quick update. Just quickly with the Elevate Ag program, or Elevate Ag, how we're going in that direction. We met on June the 8th. So our regional partners, so that's Wellington North. No one was there from Mapleton, I don't believe, and Center Wellington. And we met with Christy Young, as well as the web development company that does the Farm Link website, just to discuss and determine our regional profile that we're trying to develop on the website for Wellington County is what we're looking at now. It was going to be Minto, and it kind of grew a little bit, and we thought, why not really, adapt this to Wellington County? And we have the support from the county, which we're grateful for and we appreciate. But so it should be completed. We just need to get some content to them and make some decisions as to what parameters we want to have on there as far as Minto is concerned. And I think they're looking at having it all completed by the middle of August. So we really want to promote that then at the fall fairs and have that out there and reach out to people that this is an opportunity and try and start, because we feel it might be a bit of a process to get farmers to buy into this, but we hope that we'll get their support, and it's pretty exciting to be able to develop something like this. So I think that is about it. That's all I've got.
Mayor Bridge, on the committee restructuring, just the board as appointed under our appointment bylaw would remain, is that?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So I think that's up to that board when they meet. So I don't think council has to appoint an executive committee or anything. I think probably the board itself is appointing its executive. I guess what I'm saying is we won't amend the appointment bylaw until the new year. We can look at whether you want to have council appoint the executive or how you want to do that.
Yeah, because there's not much more that we're going to be meeting the executive unless something comes up. We won't be meeting much until fall when we have our first.
Pretty much all of the board members are quite fine with still being there in an advisory position. Like, we need to contact them and say, hey, can you get into a room and meet? Then I'm sure everyone is quite willing to do so.
Good. So. Okay, so there's nothing we need on that. Just accept the report.
Just a motion to receive the minutes and accept the report recommendation in the report.
Judy and Jean, did you have a question?
No.
All in favor? Good.
Thank you.
Excellent. Economic development.
I'll stand. Okay, so Taylor had to leave. She has another meeting, so I can talk about the street party. I wrote the stuff, so we will be once again having our street party. This is the 3rd year. As you know, it was a celebration for the street reopening, and it was very well received by our business community, and we've continued to carry it on. This year, we will be extending the length of the street dance by popular demand. In the past, it's gone 8 till 11, and this year they would like it to go till 8 till midnight. That doesn't change the time that we'll need the street closed for, because we had it opened or closed until 1 a.m. last year anyway. So from the lights at Arthur and Elora down to Mill Street will be closed starting at 7 a.m. on August 12th until 1 a.m. the 13th. As well, it's not in the report, but Maitland Street, just a block of Maitland Street, will be closed as well, as we have our bouncy castles on there. And Taylor highlighted in the report the number of activities that are going on the street, and there's a wide variety of things happening this year, and it's great because more and more groups and clubs get involved, and it's not just about the businesses anymore. So we have the Youth Action Councils getting on board with the Hina Tattoos. They're sponsoring that, as well as doing an amazing race, and they've toured around the town coming up with ideas for that. You all are familiar with Savor the Flavors. It's been revamped for this year. It's going to be Savor in the Street. And so they're doing a pork roast, and the pork will be from Hairston Packers, and they'll be doing that on the street. I think tickets are $25 when they're pairing the farmers and the chefs again for the sides and the desserts, but the main piece is the pig roast, and tickets are $25, and that includes admission to the dance. So this year we are going to be charging admission to the dance, August 12th around. It'll just be a $5 admission to the dance, and that helps us cover the cost of the dance. It's not an expensive event by any means, but that helps us cover that. The Hairston Legion is hosting a breakfast downtown, and last year they sold out at the breakfast. It was delicious, and also helping us with bartending at the dance. The Hairston Historical Society is hosting a barbecue downtown, and they're also unveiling the Old Post local heritage marker that day. The Kinsmen were a great help last year, and they're going to help us again this year with setting up fencing and taking down and bartending, whatever else we need. They're happy to help us, and we're happy to have them. And Harry Stones is again going to help us with bartending. They've always done that, and then people head back to the Legion and Harry Stones after and keep the party going. In terms of financial considerations for the street party, there really isn't any. It's a $2,500 budget item that the Downtown Revite Committee took out of their capital budget and moved it over for this event. So we're just telling you about the street closure, really, and that's about it. If there's any questions.
It's exciting.
It looks like a good time.
Oh, and of course the Leslie Motors car show. That's a big highlight of the event for sure. So,
of course.
Good.
Excellent. Thanks, Belinda.
Motion to accept.
Sure.
Mayor Faulkner, Councilor Turton, all in favor? Terry. And we have Terry building and.
Hello. So I'm covering for Stacy this time. She covered.
I was going to say it's nice to see you at a meeting.
Wow.
Are you new here?
Wow. Okay.
He hasn't been busy at all.
Oh, I know. Sorry. That's all right.
Thanks for coming, Terry. Thank you. Okay. So staff received a site plan application from Sean and Kira Wheel. They purchased a 1 acre parcel in our industrial park from us, right between Sarge Equipment and the dentist office. So the property is zoned M2, which is a light industrial zoning. They're proposing to build a 6,360 square foot industrial building. I believe the proposal is for multi-tenant, so there'll be a couple of tenants in there, and then to the rear of it, they're also showing a future expansion area. The loading doors and basically all the action on the site is going to be to the north. And Sean did that intentionally just to prevent any conflict with the residential lots beside it. Even though there is a big berm in between, it's just the noise will be reflected into the industrial park versus towards Main Street. So the proposal is for a gravel parking lot with all the surface drainage heading towards Minto Road, which is the design of the park. And there is planting strips along between the dentist office and this property, as well as up to the north as well. So staff met and had a couple of just kind of comments or conditions on the site plan approval. Public Works wants to know what the size and location of the sanitary sewer and the water service that they need for the building. Clerk's Department requests that the front parking lot be paved in conformance with the other site plan approvals that we've done, as well as tree planting along the rear of the building and then along the northerly property line as well. Triton has received the site plan and they're currently reviewing it. So our recommendation is that council accepts the report as presented, approves the site plan, and directs staff to prepare and execute the site plan agreement with the conditions that I mentioned previously, as well as any conditions that our engineer would like to add.
Questions? Oh, sorry.
the building, is it going to look pretty nice? Like we have site plan control, you know what kind of
I have not seen any elevations or anything like that for it.
and
for
the
it yet.
colors and
I
so
still
you don't
haven't-
want to spoil the look of the dentist office and all that stuff.
No, and Sean built, there's a small 1,500 square foot building in the industrial park that Sean built quite a few years ago. It's not a bad looking building. It's an industrial type building. But I haven't seen
As long as
elevations
it's
or.
neat and tidy and all that stuff.
Yep.
And light industrial, Terry, what can go in light industrial?
Basically low noise type of businesses. So like a contractor's yard where they're storing all the stuff inside. Auto mechanics are another one. It's kind of a transitional between like residential commercial, and your normal industrial. So it shouldn't cause any problems with the neighbors.
Right. Okay. That's good. Somebody recommend there's Councilor Turton, Councilor Elliott, all in favor? Report. Thank
Perfect. Thank you.
Can I ask a question of Terry before?
Sure. Yeah.
Just sort of different than what you're doing, but
sure.
You can get away then if you wanted to. I'm just wondering what's happening with downtown Palmerston, with the two buildings, Palmer and Ebbs Hair Design.
Yep. So we have received a facade improvement application. I think council has approved it.
Approved that. Yep.
So I met with the contractor late last week, just going over the logistics in terms of when he's going to get at the facade. So he's got his contractor getting some drawings and that for me for some exterior adjustments to it. Other than that, I haven't been into the building for a while, so I don't know exactly what the stage is since I was in there last.
So he's convinced he wants to move along with it.
Yep.
Faster than slower.
I can't put any timelines on what his schedule is, but he is still working towards completion of the building.
Okay.
Perfect. Thanks.
Thanks,
Terry.
Creation.
Mayor Bridge, I guess I'm the one who will present the central booking report.
Okay.
Matt is on vacation and Al is on the run, keeping things moving these days. As you know, Wilson family had another child last week, so
very good.
Grace will be off until next June, and we've moved up Greg Mallet, who's working from our office part of the time here, and then also keeping some of his lead hand duties down at Palmerston facilities. We did bump up one of the staff down there to take on an additional role as lead hand temporarily. And then in Harrison, we're working through some illness there, and we're challenged to meet all our pressures this year, but so far so good. It will depend on the illness and how long the individual is in coming back. We're optimistic it could be as early as mid-July, but if it's longer, we may need some help temporarily. But we're keeping on track of this, and then speaking to the facilities manager this morning, he was confident that he could make things work this summer. Remember in January we took on the facility booking process here at the administrative office. We've improved the web presence for the two departments, so you can check facilities online to see whether they're available or not, and then you can contact us basically from 8:30 to 5 o'clock and try and book that facility if it's available. We're looking at upgrading that next year to have an enhanced presence on the website. That'll be a budget item for discussion with you, but by and large, we believe that central booking has improved customer service. It makes people more available here administratively to do work, and it frees up the staff members at the facilities to do their operational maintenance work, so they're not answering calls or having to answer email. So whether that changes sort of workload and staffing levels, that still remains to be seen, especially when we're dealing with illnesses and maternity leaves. It's just kind of hard to do a full assessment of just where exactly you are with those sorts of things. We reviewed this back on June 13th. Seems like a long time ago, but the staff present there, and from all indications, are certainly the admin staff are finding this to be useful and helpful, and I think to the facilities people as well, and our customers, which is the important part. If they're able to get people more readily during the day. There was some worry that we might lose contact, or they might lose contact with the people in the facilities, but with good communication, we think we can overcome any issues that we have there. We really haven't had any more problems with central booking than we might have had with non-central booking. So really has been, I think, a positive thing for the municipality in general. We're recommending that we work for another year, so I think that it could come back and fit into some discussions in January, February around budget with the recreation facilities department structure and possibly public works. So we can bring those two issues back, start beginning those discussions as to how you want to resource for 2018 and beyond. And just a note that facilities in particular has added several locations since the last term of council, and we really haven't resourced that department since then. And so I think we're starting to get some, not pushback, but some signs that we maybe have to look at that. We've got the Lions Medical Clinic, the Heritage Museum, the Senior Center, the Lawn Bowling Club, and the Whites Junction Trails. We're doing it in partnership with other departments, but there may be a better structure that could help us deal with that, or may need more resources, but we'll be reporting back to this council about that in the future. One other thing that's mentioned in the report is the after-school program, and if we do proceed with something like that, and we're in the early stages with this, I think that would mean more resources in the recreation side of things. So the two departments, while separate, they do work pretty well together. They're very active. Certainly our day camp programs are up and running and very, very busy again this year, and with all the events, our facilities are very busy this summer as well. So I'm certainly pleased with the way the staff have responded and met with any kind of adversity that they've faced over the last little while. It just seems like that the structure hasn't really, and these illnesses kind of go back several years actually, where we really haven't had a chance to flourish with the group that we had. So, but here we are, and I think unanimously we're happy with the way central booking is going, and like to report back to you in the new year.
Questions? Well, I think, Bill, just from a comment side, I think I've seen it working a little bit, and I think we're going to be into having to do some restructuring, I think, with all the things that it's interesting when you add all those different places up, it all happened one at a time, but all of a sudden we have five new things going on, and maybe with another new exciting thing with the after school program and all those things. We have to look at our resources and figure out how we have to fund it going forward, but just all good stuff.
Just a comment through you, Mr. Mayor. Message through CAO White, perhaps, that please, if there's a need, feel free that you could bring that to council, and we'll do our best to support you in whatever you do.
Thank you.
Okay, mover to accept.
Sure.
Strickson, Mayor Faulkner, all in favor? Great. Okay.
Mayor Bridge, you dealt with the pedestrian crossovers. Next report, well, it has Anneline's name on it still. I think I stole an earlier draft of one of hers, so
there you are.
I won't. Maybe I could handle this one because I kind of wrote it. But you already approved the road closures for the parade route, which is shown in purple on that map. It's down Laura Street from W.C. Smith and Whiteman, I guess southeasterly to Nelson Street, then up Nelson to Brown, and from Brown to, I think that's James, if I'm not mistaken, to finish off the route. So that's approved and in place and ready to go ahead between 10 a.m. and 1 p.m. on August 5th. And looking at the detours during that event, Public Works road foreman asked that I bring forward information on the detour route, that it would occur at Park Street and then on Minto Road out to West Heritage, which is fine. It'll work in the short term. Any larger vehicles that go through there, in particular travel trailers, or if there are any transport trucks running on a long weekend Saturday morning, those corners are going to be a challenge for them. So I think people should expect delays. We will attempt to staff some of the more challenging corners with our people as they're available, or we will help the volunteers get up to speed on how they might help and direct traffic, or we might use OPP and fire. So just a bit of a cautionary note that the traffic flow during that period is it's a Saturday of a long weekend, could be lots of fun for people. But I mean, that's when you have an event, maybe they'll stop and enjoy the event as well. So also, I have a little drawing of the grounds that I wanted to go over with you. And it mentions in the report that the committee would like to close Brown Street except to local traffic and emergency traffic, and also a small part of Allen Street, basically at the arena. Mm-hmm. So they would still allow emergency vehicles to get in and out of that area. Obviously, if we had a call, our firefighters would have to come through those barriers to get to the fire hall, and the trucks would need to get out. And I'm sure that could be accommodated. But you can see the layout on the screen there. That's been provided by Blair Whiteman. You can see where things will be operating, and let's hope that the event is such a success that there'll be people on the roads in that area safely and using the camping and going to all the exciting things that they have planned. So our recommendation is that you approve the detour and accept the closure of Brown Street North and part of Brown Street South and part of Allen Street.
Questions?
I'm concerned about Allen Street because that's going to be the main route. Firemen are going to go to the fire hall in.
No, that's going to be open for emergency though.
No, I realize that. I realize that. I still have a concern about that being opened even with a one lane for emergency vehicles. I just think you're fighting with fire. But anyways, I'll support whatever you guys think.
Well, Blair's the one that.
I realize that.
So I figured if he figures out, he's going to have to get his fire trucks out of there somehow. Or maybe they'll even put them out somewhere. I don't know.
Maybe.
Is that what they do?
Yeah, that's a possibility.
I think that's a possibility. I think
they have to go get their gear.
And I'm not too sure. I'm not sure if I know they're going to have a lot of their stuff in the parade, and maybe we can talk to. Maybe you want to talk to Chris, but there might be somehow that they're being backed up by Harrison or something. I don't know, but I don't know what's going to happen there. Yep.
As a firefighter way back when, we had our trucks in the parade.
Yep.
And we were prepared. We had our stuff and gear
all there,
all with us. And we did have a fire come up and just light up our sirens and
big on.
And everybody kind of pulls over and we wheel past them.
I'm sure, but well, I'll check to make sure. But I think they were talking about that when I was at that meeting.
So as soon as you light up your sirens, and everybody knows.
Everybody stops.
Mayor Bridge, if I may, we were chatting about this morning after the department heads meeting, and because I think Deputy Mayor's concern was one that crossed my mind as I was looking at this with the fire chief. But I suppose if they're blocked off from coming down at William Street, the traffic, then it's probably maybe easier for them to get in and out of there rather than having cars come down and parking and turning around
at that. That's my concern.
So we kind of thought about that after that, maybe stopping them at William and Allen. Just my first and middle name, William. Would be the way it would work.
Just close it, but keep the parking away from it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Good. No, it's not. It's going to be on us before we know it. All right. Motion to accept that. Councilor Turton, Councilor Caldwell, all in favor? Good. Treasury report. I'll turn it over to you. Hey, Lou.
The Finance Committee just has one item on the agenda today, and it's the approval of accounts. And I'll turn it over to Treasurer Duff to give us a background.
Okay, thanks, Chair Caldwell. Of the expenses that we're doing in this round, 2/3 are from one item, which is paying the school boards, $569,000, and that accounts for the bulk of it. We've also done some work, the fire department, getting some more equipment, bunker gear, and that for $5,700, and working on the grad store for $5,400. If any of you have been down to the Harrison Arena lately, those doors are in. That was about $25,000, and they've done added some range hoods for $2,000, and also they've been doing some camera work in the wastewater. So once you deduct the school boards, it's not that much. No.
Does anyone have any questions or concerns? No? Then the recommendation is the Council of the Town of Minto receives the Treasurer's report dated June 30th, 2017 regarding approval of accounts and approves the Town of Minto accounts by department for June 2017. Would someone make that motion, please? Councillor Dirksen? Seconded by Mayor Bridge. All in favor?
It was the eye contact.
Yeah, it was.
Then I turned back to Mayor Bridge. I looked over to see if you were.
I know. I was doing what you guys do sometimes. Nobody gives me any. They look at me and they don't put their hand up. So see, it all works. Okay, good. Other businesses disclosed. We'll start with Judy.
Okay. So we haven't said anything about the water event, and I imagine that most people will. But anyways, I just wanted to say a big thanks to everybody. There have been so many positive comments about that. I would love for someone to document some of those stories and get them down, because it really showed how our community came together, staff and residents and total strangers. I think what was significant about this one was it was a waterfall event with no ice or snow. Mm-hmm. And I think in the past when we've had floods, we've had ice and snow and some water, but not torrents of water like we did. So anyway, so I just wanted to make sure we got that there. Last weekend was a real wow weekend in Minto. I thought the best Facebook comment that I saw was, who needs to go to Ottawa? We had such a top-notch Canada Day celebration here in Minto with everything that was going on. So I wanted to pass that on. Our food land in Harrison has had their grand opening, and I could not be more pleased. So if you haven't been in, please do that. We have the Ambassador Fair upcoming for the Harrison Minto Fall Fair on Friday evening. And back in June, we had the North Wellington Healthcare AGM. So we have 3 new members elected. Brian Millen is the former mayor of Southgate. That's why I asked that question.
That's right, yeah.
Gary Shoemaker, and I'm sorry I don't know Gary Shoemaker, but he's a second new member of the North Wellington Healthcare Board. And also Mike Wilson, who you probably recognize that name. We all know and love him. So elected chair was Brian McMahon. He's a teacher at St. Mary's School in Mount Forest. Mm-hmm. And Kelly Ward, who is from Palmerston, she was elected the vice chair. She's an OMAFRA employee and a local volunteer.
Very well.
Wonderful. Mm-hmm. There you go.
Good. Thank you. Next up was Ron.
I just wanted to mention about a splash bash that was held in Palmerston. It was at the park, the Heritage Park. We had free swimming and, of course, the free splash pad. We had a band, free hamburgers and hot dogs. Thanks to George Bridge again, who donated some money towards that. And it was just, they had the fire department out, and they had a slippery slide thing. They had tattoos, cotton candy, popcorn, you name it. It was all free. It was all given to everybody and the reason the Lions do it that way was because not only it was Canada Day, it's something that people have given to the Lions all year, and we keep asking them for more. This is a chance for us to give back to them. A chance for there's different people within that donate to it to help do that too. So it's a free venue, and it's just phenomenal. This year with the band, I was amazed. It's usually all about the kids, and this year with the band, they played a lot of old time music. People just loved it. We had a lot of adults stay all day. So about 3 o'clock that finished up. It was really, really amazing. A little bit of sprinkle of rain, nothing serious. We gathered things real quick. As soon as we did that, it stopped raining.
Yep.
The sun came out again. So it was great. And I thank the public for attending and the support from Mayor Bridge.
Thanks, Ron. And one thing I thought I was really touched with was the Vimy Ridge.
Yes.
The Vimy Ridge oak that was planted up on with the Legion and the the Lions. And so make sure you go up and have a look at that and the story about it coming from Vimy Ridge, and that a veteran brought back the acorns, I guess they're called, and managed to plant, I think, 20 acres at one time. They said an amazing amount, and now they have these seedlings that they go to special spots. So that's really good with Vimy Ridge going on right now. But I thought that was a nice touch. The Lions always seem to come up with these little things that I don't know where they come from. Rivers and trees and everything else,
and
waterfalls.
And I do believe, Ron. I get because I'm an honorary member of the Lions. I get the notes. I can't get out and work like everybody does, but they're doing a shade area down by the Splash Bash for people to sit underneath.
For the parents
and so that's going up this weekend. If anybody's able to go out and bang up some boards.
Build a barrier in front of the pool.
Yep, barrier in front of the pool for parking and that. So it just keeps improving. We have lights on the bridge now, and they're just like at the party in the park. We looked and with all the lights and the lights on the bridge, it was really amazing to see. Anyways, great job, Ron.
Okay, I had three things. Judy already touched on Foodland, and I will reiterate her comment. If you haven't been into Foodland since, it's just an absolutely wonderful store, and it just makes you proud to have that Foodland food store in our community. And the reason I wanted to bring it up is I caught the history from the vice president of Foodland, and there's great things to come for the Foodland in Palmerston, and also some exciting news going to be for the Hairston one, but it's not complete yet. But it's just a great news story, and Councillor Dirksen was there and put a ploy in for them to expand to Clifford.
Yeah, good for you. Good for you. And thank you for people that could make it. I had county council that morning.
So it was good. Second thing I have, I wanted to talk about the Clifford unveiling. The mayor did Minto proud, and as well as councillors Anderson and Dirksen, and
I was the food booth.
And I was there, and it's a wonderful mural or sign, and so impressed. 4 of the owners were there, and that's pretty neat stuff. Oh, sorry, and our CAO was there as well. Oh no, he wasn't. No, that's right. You were at
I was away.
Plate. The last thing is, I understand, Mr. Mayor, that we are going to have a meeting on the 18th. Does that have to be a motion, or?
We'll talk.
Okay, if it's going to happen on the 18th, I would like to invite the council back to my place for perhaps food and a beverage afterwards.
We might be able to have it during the day. I was hoping.
Yeah, if it's at 3 o'clock. I don't want anybody showing up at my place at 11 o'clock at night.
No.
Some of our meetings go to 12.
Yeah. Thanks, Ron. Really.
Just 2 things. I just wanted to reiterate what Judy said in regards to the water event that we had. I mean, we're very proud of our staff, and I think they really went over and beyond in this, and a lot of them were facing their own issues at their own homes, and weren't able to deal with those issues because they were so busy with the town issues. And I just want to say a heartfelt thanks to everyone.
You bet.
And the other thing is, it's lots of time in advance, but just mark your calendars for August the 17th. Is the Chamber of Commerce barbecue at the home of John Cox. It'll start at 6 o'clock. For those of us attending AMO, it's the day after we get back. So I won't bring it up again until into August, but August 17th at 6.
Okay, thank you. So,
David.
Yes, just a couple of quick things as well. I mean, being right in the middle of all that water, it was amazing to talk to all the positive things. I mean, Friday morning, it was pretty ugly. People didn't know where to look. They didn't know where to go. They didn't know what to do. But then on Saturday morning, it was 24 hours later, but it was so much different. Everybody had got in touch with their insurance, and the sun was going to come up on Sunday for sure. But on Friday, and I mean, my hat goes off as well to our staff and our emergency team and our fire service. I mean, they were all over the place in our town, the town trucks, and it was just amazing.
Phenomenal. Yep.
This weekend in Harrison is the Grays tournament. I just wanted to throw that out there. It's a slow pitch tournament. Anybody has the opportunity to go down and have some French fries. I mean, French fries are great. So Queen's Plate.
Healthy
Bill,
French
Bill, were you
fries.
really at the Queen's Plate? Because there was 3 or 4 Shigadance horses at the Queen's Plate.
Yeah.
One was in the main event. So
Did you bet on them, Bill?
I don't bet.
No, good. Yeah, right.
I know somebody that did bet on all them horses.
Did you run into Mr. Chicken?
Oh, but I saw other Harrison people there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
Bond and suits.
Yeah.
Gene, did I have you down or did you?
No, I mean, we were sort of isolated from the water event because we couldn't get into town.
Yeah. But I can tell you that Jean sent me a note, said if she could make sandwiches or anything for the troops, she was ready to do that. And
Well, we were going to go around road barriers.
Yeah,
To get in
yeah.
there. We figured we could find a way in. I could at least man a phone or bake food or do something. But yeah, and as you say, Saturday when we got in, I'm going, you would never know the magnitude of event that had happened the day before. People were going about their business. The stuff was spread out in their lawns. They were drying things out. It was just amazing to see. You'd never have known.
Right.
And I've never seen that river that high in my life.
Ever. Me neither.
No.
Sorry, just one other thing on the road barriers. I mean, it was an interesting thing. People talked about this isn't the same as a major storm event. I mean, snow. Okay, the roads are closed all over the place. I go by the barrier, I'm in trouble with the OPP. But the number of people that went by the barriers.
Oh. Yes, unfortunately. Unfortunately,
Yeah, it wasn't funny, but it was.
No, it wasn't.
Well, okay, I'm just going to sum it up and then we can get the heck out of here. But as far as the flood, it would, sometimes it gets a little bit frustrating when you have to have these emergency measures things and we go through the exercises. But I can tell you, the fact that it was a couple of years ago we went through that exercise about flooding, and we had the event that I was sitting downstairs and I remember they got another 20 inches or 20 centimeters or whatever up there, and now we're going to have more flooding. And from that exercise, we found out that Harrison became had islands out in Harrison during that type of event. And this event actually was a lot faster than the event we practiced, but at the same token, we found those issues. And so from that, we were able to go out and say, we don't have water rescue. We don't have ability to move people with boats and whatnot. So from that event, that exercise 2 years ago, the firemen went out on their own with us, with help from us, but fundraised, and I know Pike Lake gave money and other people gave money for Touch Truck event. They had their water rescue. They were well trained. That was a big blessing, and that was just foresight from that exercise. The other thing from the exercise was we found out that we would end up with flooding into our vaults where we had our pumping stations, and we had to make sure we got that power cut off to those before it happened. Otherwise, we couldn't have done what we did on Saturday and got everything back up and running because we would have had burnt out motors and everything else. So again, those are things that we learned from that event. I said that on the press releases. I said that in the news. It was really, our team worked really well because we had actually practiced the event. And I have to say that practicing the event makes a big difference. And I appreciate the council always there to back us up, but we let us alone. We ran our event. We had Deputy Mayor Faulkner pitched in at the beginning of it because I was at a risk management conference actually. And I was coming home to make a speech on something else down at Brent, and my phone went off at 6 o'clock as I was getting on the 400 coming in from up north, and it was Bill saying that we've had a bit of an event. We had lots of rain and looks bad. And so I had to get here, and it took me a little while to get here, but I got here about 8:45. Ron was already here. We had sort of had informal meeting, and then we decided to do the emergency thing at 10 o'clock. So everything worked really well, and I appreciate all the help that I know from the back you guys were all giving us when we needed it. And I'm so proud of the community, as Judy pointed out. And we'll try to write those stories down, Judy. We're starting the process of getting all the information and who's affected and how much they're infected by. And we had the ministry here on Friday. The day of, I had a call from the minister from Thunder Bay, Minister Morrow. The province has done really well about getting to us, and hopefully we'll get all these things. But there's a lot of things we don't realize that happened that we can't do. The water advisory, again, we made that decision based on the fact, although I think we were fine, we weren't sure. So we did that, and we appreciate the people. But then when you do that, you don't realize that, restaurants can't operate. We can't do, Farm Fresh couldn't do killings. Harrison Packers were affected. There was lots of things, but I think we did the right thing there. But we were very quick to get our reports in. David, your crew, your public works guys, they were in there. They got our tests on Saturday, test Monday morning. Public health came in. Everything worked really well together. And I have to give, emergency measures. Steve Dewar was here. He's the head of Guelph Emergency Measures. He was here the whole time when we had our planning sessions, and Linda Dixon and Scott Larson and the county people and whatever we needed were there. So I'm so proud of the fact that everybody was able to do all those things. And then last weekend, what a great time, I must say. I mean, I seemed to be the bringer of rain, though I was a little worried. It rained in Palmerston. We had the event there a little bit, and then it quit. And then I got to Clifford, and everything was great. I made a stupid remark in my speech because I was first up. That looks like we're going to dodge the bullet, and next thing you know, it started pouring rain, come sideways on us. The poor singers from the Grey Bruce. Was it the Grey Bruce? No.
Holstein Bells.
The Bells. They were all in nice white and red from Holstein, and Sharon was leading them. And unfortunately, they barely get Old Canada out through the rain. But I'll tell you, we got it done. And I know I didn't get over to the truck show, but I heard it was a big success.
It got rain too.
It got rain too. That's why I didn't go, because it was raining after when I was there. But I heard it was good success there. So we're looking forward to Clifford coming up in a month. Yeah. And anyways, I'm so proud of our town. And one thing is, as mayor, you get to be sort of you guys. So I can say it's the council when people come and ask you. But the town, I think, put ourselves on the map. I think people understood that we had a sort of thing going there. So anyways, that's all I have. I don't think I have anything else. Nope.
Meeting in 2 weeks.
Oh, and meeting in 2 weeks. Is it already, do we do it 3 o'clock? Is everybody good with 3 o'clock?
Need a motion?
Okay. We need a motion to do it, though?
I'll
A
move
motion?
that we meet
Deputy
on
Mayor
the
Faulkner.
18th at 3 o'clock.
Councilor Turton, all in favor? And the reason why we have to have this meeting is we got about 5 reports, and we have some more sales and some other things we have to do. So,
Will it be a closed session? You don't think so?
I don't think there's a closed session. So basically 3 o'clock, and we'll go from there. Yeah, not gonna happen in 2 weeks. But anyway, so just let the press know that we're gonna have it at 3, and we should be done hopefully about the same time. No, it might be a little. All right. Thank you very much. Okay, moving on, Bill. Moved by Deputy Mayor Faulkner, second by Councilor Anderson. The Committee of Whole convenes into regular council meeting. All in favor? Carried. Moved by Councilor Turton, second by Councilor Elliott. The Council of Town of Minto ratifies the motions made all in favor. Moved by Councilor Dirksen, second by Councilor Caldwell. The bylaw number 2017-55 to temporarily close roads in Harrison on August 12th and 13th, 2017 for a community event be introduced and read first, second, and third time, passed over council, seal of corporation. All in favor? Moved by Councilor Anderson, second by Deputy Mayor Faulkner. The bylaw number 2017-56 to authorize the sale of certain town-owned lands in Clifford fronting on Ann Street be introduced and read first, second, and third time, passed over council, seal of corporation. All in favor? Moved by Councillor Elliott, second by Councillor Turton, bylaw number 2017-57 to authorize the execution of site plan agreement with Sean and Carrie Wheel to permit an industrial building, Minto Road, Palmerston, be introduced, read first, second, and third time, and passed on by council, seal the corporation. All in favor? Moved by Councillor Caldwell, second by Councillor Dirksen, the bylaw number 2017-58 to confirm the actions of the council of the corporation of Town of Minto respecting a meeting held July 4th, 2017, be introduced, read first, second, and third time, passed on by council, seal the corporation. All in favor? Moved by Deputy Mayor Faulkner, second by Councillor Anderson, the council of the Town of Minto adjourned to meet again at the call of the mayor. All in favor? Thanks for a good meeting, everybody. Have a